Right. You think back and you think of things that really impressed you as you were growing up. Now, it's hard to think of thinking forward 50 years. Some of us can look back, though, for a long time, and it seems like yesterday. And one of the things that stands, I'm going to mess around and fall off over here. One of the things that stands out in my mind is going to my dad to see the banker. And I don't know if it was because of the fancy furniture and the fancy office or what it was, but I can remember sitting there listening to him. He was a family friend as they did their deal. Many years later, my brother and I'm an optometrist. My brother was an ophthalmologist. I'll be glad to give you some free eye advice after we get done here if you've got any problems with your glasses or cataracts. But my brother and I got through with school at the same time, so we went down and visited with the banker. And again, I can remember sitting there telling him about our dream to start a business, to start a clinic. And the banker listened to us, and he decided to take a chance on us. Now, I had a negative net worth. He had to call me later in the day and say, don't you have any assets, that we can work with? But we got that sorted out. But we started our business. We had 5 employees. We worked hard, wound up with 85 employees and 10 doctors. That's how you start businesses in America. You don't do it with the stimulus way. The only thing the stimulus has stimulated is the deficit. I wish it were as easy as passing a law, but it doesn't work that way. The problem with the huge government is when the job goes away. We've got to get back to the basics. We've got to get back to creating jobs through cutting taxes on business, particularly small business, but big business too. Cutting taxes, giving them the tools they need, cutting the regulation so that we can get America back to work. The problem now is the only thing the average businessman knows is that his taxes are going up next year. He doesn't know what his energy costs are going to be. He doesn't know what the regulation's going to be or the health care costs. So we've got to get some stability back in government. The sad thing is, and I wish we had time because we could go around, and each one of you could tell your story, but it would be very similar to my story. That's what America's all about, is people taking a chance, you having an idea, you jumping out there. The trouble is I visit with bankers throughout Arkansas, and I visit with businessmen. That story, because of the regulation that's coming down out of this administration, the Pelosi, Reid, Obama, all of the stuff that's coming down, whether it be the revamp of the financial regulations, whether it's health care, whatever, it's making it more and more difficult for the American dream to come true in that regard. So we've got to push back. Jobs, 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 creating real jobs, not the stimulus jobs, but the jobs that are going to last. The deficit, as you guys know, is totally out of control. We need a balanced budget amendment. We need to be forced to live within our means, just like the state of Arkansas lives within its means. And the only way we're going to get that done, I think, is with a balanced budget amendment, the line item veto, so that this president, whoever the president is, can pull out the stuff that's stuck in the pork, that's stuck in it at the last minute. We need to be able to get rid of that. He needs to be able to veto and send that back to Congress. The other monster that's out there that's being created is the health care bill. And I don't care, in fact, Senator Lincoln's very proud of being the deciding vote. I want to be the deciding vote to repeal it and defund it and get rid of it. And it doesn't matter who you are, what stage of life you are, everyone's figured out this is a bad deal. Seniors have figured out you can't cut $500 billion from the Medicare program and add 30% more patients. Something's got to give, and that's quality of care. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Businesses, the mandates that are going to come down are job killers. You just can't do it. I was in Fort Smith a few days ago. CEO of one of the manufacturers there said that this bill would cost them between $2 and $3 million. They're going to mechanize and lay off 50 people. Again, these are job killers. The restaurant chain, They said it would cost them a little over $1 million. They've got 700 employees. They said in this economy, they're wondering if they'll be able to survive. And that's just paying the fine. That's not even doing, the others. So again, these are job killers. State of Arkansas is going to have to come up with between $200 and $400 million a year because of the mandate of increasing our Medicaid coverage. This is why 20 states in the country are actually suing the federal government. They don't believe that they've got the ability constitutionally to be able to do this, and I agree with that. I also agree constitutionally the federal government can't mandate, the fact that you have to do anything. If they can do it with health care, what else can they do it with? Now, one of the things that and so again, we've got to defund this thing. We've got to repeal it. One of the things that I'm very pleased with, if you look at what this new contract with America, which isn't exactly that, but one of the things they've said, which is so important, is what they're advocating, what I'm advocating is, as bills come forward, that on that bill, in a very prominent, in fact, a very, very prominent place, is the constitutional authority as to how that bill can proceed in the first place. We've got to get back to constitutional government. Now, I was really pleased. We were in Hot Springs Village the other day, and we drove up in the bus, and we're getting ready to go through, and I looked over and I saw the NRA stickers. Many of you all, those of you that are in the NRA, I've been endorsed and have an A rating by them, have an A rating by Gun Owners of America, and they've sent out the bumper sticker with a check mark, and vote for John Boozman, for gun rights. But I looked over, and the lady that was, allowing you into Hot Springs Village, it's a gated community, it's the largest gated community in the country. But I looked over and saw this pickup, and then I saw the lady inside. She asked what we were doing there, and they explained, that we had a meeting there, and she said, "That's my senator. That's the guy I'm voting for," and that was her truck. So we appreciate that kind of endorsement. Every year we hear about this being the big election. I can remember that ever since I've started voting, and certainly all elections have been important. But this election truly is, I think, for my generation, I think for every generation represented here, this truly is the big election. What we're trying to do is decide which way are we going. Are we going to get back to the basics? Are we going to get back to solving our problems through the free market system, empowering business, shrinking government, cutting our taxes? Or are we going to continue on down the path that President Obama is trying to push us down, the idea that we can tax and spend and borrow our way to prosperity, the idea of going down the European socialist style of democracy, and solve our problems that way? The good news is that America's speaking up, they're pushing back, and as a result, I think we're all going to be very, very happy come November 2nd and November 3rd. Now,